everyone. Look, Mila, we have people. Let us come a little bit closer. Yes. Oh, isn't that lovely? We've got a backlight, we've got a main light. Hello, Kathleen O'Malley. Debbie M., thank you for being members. Be grateful, thank you for being a member. Hi, Kathy Reagans. Good to see you. Donna Stevenson, hello. Quinny, hi. I'm doing good as well. Thank you, Quinny. Julie Lilly, thank you. There's the kitty. The kitty is out. It's beautiful spring day here in beautiful downtown Portland, Oregon. Hello to you all. And happy hour. This is our Thursday happy hour. It falls at 4 p.m. excuse me, in Oregon. And 7 p.m. in New York. I want to warn you, we get down and dirty on the Thursday show. It's not the Sunday show, so anything goes. The Bonnie Prince, the Bonnie Prince is going to the coronation. Did you all hear about this? Meghan is not going to Prince or to King Charles' coronation. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, the hat. Yes. All right. So I have an announcement about hats. First off, what do you think of the hat? What do you think? Do you like it? This is I think it's a 1920s, 1930s British replica. I like vintage. I like time period. This is a British remake, and I believe it's from the 1920s, 1930s. So some of you are minimizing and throwing old stuff away. So if any of you are throwing away old hats, vintage hats, feel free to send them my way. People periodically, when they like clean out their closets and they have old scarves, they send them to me. You know how I love my scarves. Now I'm getting into old hats. I just think when you're going to be dressed, I got the scarf, I got the hat, I got the gloves, I got the everything going on. It's just, yes, it's like a felted. It's a lady's felt hat. It's a church hat. I think it's a traditional, probably English countryside look. Lady Chatterley's lover, she was wearing it. So I tried to, if you saw Netflix Lady Chatterley's lover. On Netflix. Absolutely loved it. Very sexy. And I loved her long 1920s coats and her I don't know what kind of hat this is, but this is the traditional hat she would use as she would walk along the English countryside. Yes. I don't know when Lady Chatterley's, but what time period that was, the teens, the 20s. And I bought some of the clothes, the day dresses as well from Lady Chatterley's lover. If any of the ladies want to see, I don't know if is anybody even slightly interested in this, but I did buy some clothing from the 1920s, the day dresses from the remakes that are based on Lady Chatterley's. Anyone want to see them? I don't know. If I had gone to Easter Mass, which I do sometimes, but I don't like to go by myself. If my friends are going to Mass, I'm Jewish. I just go to show support. I like to have different bonnets. Oh, you do want to see them? Okay. Well, We'll take a couple minutes while people come to the chat. I'll show you two of these are remakes. Those of you who stitch from the actual design, I believe this is 1920, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have you guys tell me. These are classic vintage day wear. This is a classic English woman, country, I'd say what, 1920s? Love the ruffle. Love how the British always have the lovely ruffle everywhere. This was going to be my Easter, but I didn't end up going. This was called an English lady's tea dress. This is like Downton Abbey, I think. It's a tea dress. And then I have a tweed coat. I bought the tweed coat to go, oh, it's 1920s. That's what I thought. That's what they're claiming it is. And then I bought a tweed coat. I like Edwardian 10s and 20s. And then the hat was part of that collection of vintage, so I went and got the hat. Tea dress from 1930s probably, because that looks kind of like the clothing. When you look about the Great Depression, the ladies wearing their tea dresses and the sack dresses that were made out of sacks, they had that kind of design. And this looks like one of those sack dress designs, doesn't it? Well, now that everybody's here, where are y'all coming from? What do you think about what's going on in the world right now? Crazy times indeed. Hi, Melody Harmon. Thanks for helping today. Hi, Donald Lampert. Thanks for being a member. Be grateful. Thank you for being a member. Gigi Pardo Lord, thank you as well. Anyway, so if you want to get rid of your old hats, I will model them for you. I love hats. So a lot to talk about. They have arrested somebody out of Massachusetts for the leaked documents. Anybody want to talk about that? We'll have that be the first thing we talk about. We've also got flooding in Fort Lauderdale. So our prayers, my God, but not just prayers. We need to give aid. On Sunday, we'll be doing another fundraiser, emergency food aid for Florida, okay? Might not like your politics, but we're still going to make sure there's aid to Florida, right? Because we're liberals and we do stuff like that. Yeah, you know, gotta help people. They lost their homes. It's horrible. We got to get off that red blue kick. That's all an attempt to break the country apart. We got to think like united. Yes. So when you follow the energy, it had that feeling of QAnon on it. It had the right wing all over it. It had that kind of Russian right wing propaganda, QAnon. I don't think it ends with this guy. I think this guy got this information somewhere else. I don't think he had some kind of clearance, but no, this was above this guy's pay grade. This guy, something else is going on here. I think it could be somehow linked back to Congress, but we can go ahead and do a blitz. It's definitely something people want to talk about. They've sent me messages about it. The other thing people want to talk about a lot is Clarence Thomas. They're horrified. People are actually telling me in emails they didn't know it was this bad. And I actually don't think that that's being naive. I think we all have to ask ourselves, how could we have been sleeping and it gotten this bad? Because this has been going on for a very long time. So I think we definitely want to talk about that. Um, you know, there's a lot to talk about. Toxic waste, another toxic waste plume. This last one was in which state? Remind me. Was it Michigan? Crazy things going on in politics in Tennessee. Crazy things going on in Kentucky. Oh, the huge fire in Indiana. Thank you. It was Indiana. Yeah, he was extremely racist, but also when you follow the energy and when you sat with the energy, it was linked back to the same groups that Marjorie Taylor Greene is associated with. So I don't think it's going to end with this guy. I think we do the empath prayer and let's start doing some blitzes. What do y'all think? And we can talk about the Bonnie Prince. And now there's a campaign called Where's Megan? Yes. So that's another thing I want to talk about. Where's Megan? So one of these things just doesn't belong here. Can you guess which one? Why do you think everybody's going to be at the inauguration except for Megan? Where's Megan? So, do you think that that's going to be viewed as "quote unquote" whitewashing? That they're going to get this guy, the Prince Harry, alone, and try and tear this marriage apart? They've got him going by himself. And where is Megan? She didn't write the book. If anything, he should stay home with the kids. What do you think about that controversy? All right, so all of that is going to be discussed today. It looks very bad. And it's not going without notice. It looks very bad. All right. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community. Excuse me. As we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys, to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together we say, Amen. Excuse me. Believe it or not, I'm over my cough. I'm just choking on water or something. I wanted to give a shout out to Rhonda Shank, by the way. She just recently became a member of the channel. So, hi, Rhonda. Thank you so much. I also wanted to give a shout out to Joyce Pietras. She has upgraded, and Mid-City Cats and Kitties. She has rejoined. Thank you. All right. So, that's right. They're making Megan stay home. But where is she? Well, it's only going to get worse because William's the next in line. Do you think that's going to be even better for them when he's got the reins? So I don't know. I mean, I think it's like either us or them. And if he's going back there, it's just like, I don't know. It's one of those things I want to blitz because I think it's just so at this time in world history, it looks so bad that they're doing that they terrorized her. I mean, it looks so bad. Do they not see how bad this looks? And of course, she's being blamed. She didn't write the book. Yes, Joyce, nobody showed up. A lot of people are on Easter spring break. It's okay. They'll be back next week. At least we hope so. Okay, so the National Guard, excuse me, where did he get the information? He did have some security clearance, but this appears to have come from somewhere else. He's very, very upset, and he's claiming in the remote what the person being questioned by the feds, he got it from somebody else. So I can't even guarantee that the person he received it from. So if he's part of these groups, he's part of these in groups, and then they connect with him, and then he passed it on. I don't think he had direct access. He's very upset about what's happened to him. He's the bag guy. Do you guys think he's the bag guy? He's the guy who got caught with the bag. Do you think he's the guy that started with the bag? His opposition. They want to wrap this case up as fast as possible because of concerns regarding a security leak. They want to wrap it up with him and say he acted alone. They are saying he acted alone. They're going to try and close this case as soon as possible. Hopes and fears, fighting communication and access by hackers on the internet. So this goes back also to privatization, right? When you get private companies that have government contracts, but they don't necessarily have the best security. So then hackers get into those private companies who have the government contracts, and then they figure things out. But right now, as far as this situation is concerned, there are multiple people involved. That everybody who shared this information, and it looks like this may not even be the source of the information, is fighting amongst themselves because I think they have fear that they're the next that's going to be prosecuted. So you have this kind of meltdown happening on Discord. Everybody that shared it, everybody who commented, and then communicating in private chats to try and find out if the FBI has contacted them. So there's infighting taking place right now. And then the final outcome, it was an inside job. It was an inside job. So it was somebody from within our government or our security. Inside job, right? The legacy, the family. His future, the future of the guy who's being accused. He has a financial, he took money. This guy could have been compromised without knowing it. So in plainer words, if he had access to security information, he may have been approached by somebody. And there may have been a financial benefit that he received from working with another group. So there's a third party involved, and there was money, some type of money involved. That's what it looks like. He was making money somehow from this. So there are people that don't get paid very well that work for the American government that also hang out on these chats and may like Russia, and then they decide to sell some security information because they're not making that much money. And that's the leak. So the leak, they're saying that people are selling American government secrets because many people feel underpaid, and their loyalty, they have confused loyalties, and it's because selling secrets has become a money industry. But so it's an industry. There are people that are selling stuff on the internet, and yeah, there's money to be made. They're buyers, reporters. It's almost like a libertarian's attitude. If you're willing to pay, government wants to close this puppy down. New beginning, fighting on the internet. But look at this, money. Just like, yeah, Jen Flynn, exactly, Sandy. General Flynn got $30 million from working with Turkey, and Turkey was working with Russia on Turkish Stream to get Russian oil out using Turkish waters, right? So what they're basically saying is that people become compromised in different ways. And one of the main ways they're being compromised is with financial incentive. And the government wants to shut down the public investigation as quickly as possible, but it goes much deeper. And I still think it's going to be linked back to possibly members of Congress, et cetera, because it's being linked back to those crazy QAnon conspiracies. And if you are in sympathy with those groups, you would theoretically be selling them. And I think they're coming out with Ukrainian hackers out of Belarus, et cetera. You would theoretically be willing to sell them stuff or help them with the hacking, etc. And so this hacked information finds its way into those groups like Discord, etc. And that seems to be what happened. Yeah. Okay, so next thing that people wanted to talk about had to do with, do you guys want to do Meghan and Harry next, or did you want to do, we had a few things you guys wanted to talk about. Let me go back. We did the document leaks. You guys wanted to look at the future of Justice Thomas. I have to make a note about that. And then, you want to do Harry and Meghan first? Okay. So what do you think? Do you think that this is racist? The fact that she's the only one in the family that's not attending? Do you think that they're trying to shut her out? Do you think that she's the scapegoat, even though she didn't even write the book? Are they trying to tear the marriage? What do you think? Are they trying to tear this family apart? Yeah, I think so. Let's see. I hope they stay together. All right. Harry and Meghan. See, here's what I thought. I thought they were both going to decline graciously and say, this is the King's Day and send their congratulations, but family obligations. And evidently that didn't fly with King Charles. So I'm surprised he would go without his wife. That's really not good. Let's take a look. I want to go hold a sign up now. I'm kind of annoyed by this. Racism in the church, the history of racism of the Anglican Church is one of the issues coming up. Reform of the church, who the main people are that contribute to the church, conservative members of the church, the fact that the church is slow to change. There's also a desire here by the church to act as a mediator, because the king is the head of the church, but you have changes taking place in the church. This is something that's come up before that I kind of have to adjust my thinking because I just don't think about a state religion or anything like that. So as an American, I just don't think like this. But it's being looked at kind of like the state religion. The crown and the state religion are interwoven. The church was founded by King Henry VIII. And so the first house is the church, the Hierophant, which is the Archbishop of Canterbury. He's trying to work on being a mediator between the brothers, etc. So you have the power of the church, the fact that this is taking place in the church, trying to create unity in the church. Also, the flip side of that is that they're saying there's division in the church. So the soul of the Anglican Church, there's civil war in the Anglican Church, and the Archbishop, yes, show us what you think. Yes, wave that tail in our faces. There you go. Yeah. So what they're saying is that it's kind of like heartbreaking if you are an Anglican. I know nothing about this. It's kind of heartbreaking if you're Anglican because what they're saying here is that it's kind of tearing the church apart. So you have the conservatives who want things to stay the same, and if things go the way they are, nothing is going to be left of the original church. That's what they're saying. And then you have the progressives that want to be inclusive of LGBTQ rights, etc. So there's the division of the church and a rewriting of the church, and the church is being involved. So if the king bestows certain titles, the church appears to be part of that documentation. So it gets in the church vault, the church journals, diaries, etc., the Bibles, etc. So there's something here about how the church is going to record these events. Isn't this weird? So you have the power of the church, the division taking place in the church. Makes sense, though, because you also have racism of the church, hegemony of the church, might makes right, white makes right, etc., which was all headed by the church. The sins of the British church, how how the church is going through a crisis in places like the Caribbean, etc. And then you have the reworking of things, contracts and relationships potentially going forward. The church wants to solidify the powers of everybody and have everybody be protected. So what I'm getting here when I go into this remote is that Harry is advocating that Meghan will have all of her titles and everything will be protected. This is Meghan's card. The hope and the fear, her position and a negotiation. So the church is involved in that. And you also, theoretically, if you died, you would be buried theoretically on church lands, etc., if you remember the monarchy. So, yeah, it looks like some kind of documentation and agreement is being hammered out. The church is helping, and these rules and these laws going forward will protect Meghan. So, and it's because of this "Where's Meghan" thing that's starting to happen, this pushback. The Prince Harry, onto the business of working in mediation with the church to oversee intellectual properties, research, hold on. This is mastery. So these are like the scholars, etc. The hopes and fears that Meghan will be okay. Her position as Duchess remains strong. So the church is guaranteeing, hammering away, pounding away with mastery a position that places Meghan, forever in history as a strong position in the monarchy, given intemperance and patience as a gift from the monarchy. So even though Meghan is not there and the church is trying to be neutral in the middle of this, the church is working towards this. Has anybody gone and visited Westminster Abbey, where you see all of the tombs of all of the duchesses and dukes and everyone that's passed, and all the people that were given the honors of being buried in certain places, whether it's being buried at Frogmore or wherever? But this appears to be some kind of position by the church that would protect her going forward, and her children, her issue, that she is protected under the church. And that seems to be what Harry is negotiating. So I just want to, because somebody had asked after that if we would look at William. Y'all think William went crazy or something? Oh, Kathy Reagan asked. Let me go ahead and do this. If what's going on with William? I think William, it kind of goes back to the remotes we did on William, where I said, "Have you ever been to therapy?" Because people had said it's his father. He's having issues with his father. We did a remote, and they said no, it's his brother. His brother made some racist statements, made some offensive statements, has also started to lean more conservative with that crazy crowd. So, which is conservative in a different way than you're conservative in the United States. Conservative in Britain, I mean, this is the idea of eugenics, the idea that the poor are inferior. I mean, it's a very old school kind of Tory view of things. And when it benefits you personally, and you're the top dog, and you're special because eugenics says aristocrats are genetically superior, and you're a prince, of course you're going to buy into it because it's a philosophy that makes you look good. So those are some of the people that are floating about. And then you have intellectual liberal progressives like Princess Anne and Charles, who can't stand those people, especially Princess Anne. She said something about that to us. We had she said she said something about wanting to sit in the pub and have a brandy and hide. That was the actual message we got in her remote when Donald Trump showed up. That she was hiding in her favorite pub. Go ride the horses, show up in your horse riding clothing at the pub that protects you, takes care of your horses, have a couple drinks, and hide from Donald Trump. That was kind of the image she sent. She sent of herself drinking and wanting. No, thank you very much. She wanted nothing to do with those types of people, other than to simply watch them from afar, like some kind of bug or inspection. So that was Anne. And that's Charles, and that's kind of like their amusement of these types of people. But William is a little bit more of the enamored of some of these conservative ideas in ways that nobody else is. And if anything, he's the black sheep. He is unbelievably defensive. You'd never know it. William presents as incredibly defensive, very, very refuses to acknowledge that he did anything wrong. He's just not open to any feedback at all. People have tried to work with him and also people feel bad for him because of what happened with his mom. So there's a little bit of this dynamic also when you go into it where people are trying to make allowance for him, like his mental state. There's kind of this Six of Pentacles is the response, and just unbelievable intolerance to anyone that would question him. So you can be sure he would have had a problem with Megan, who's, salt of the earth. I think her birth number is a 6. She's just very salt of the earth. It's interesting. His wife presents as an artist, which I think is lovely. Kate always comes across as really great in the remotes, as funny, great sense of humor, but she also presents as an artist. And there's a part of her, I know she just turned 41, there's a part of her would really love to have another child. She has this aspect of her of the arts. I know that she's considered a brilliant photographer. She has these aspects of the maternal, motherly, artistic, creative aspects of, photography and the arts. He comes across as somewhat selfish, that he doesn't always like to share what he has. Just very stubborn, and it's very difficult to work at. This stubborn refusal to do anything he doesn't like is the thing that causes his brother Harry to go off, and then they start fighting. So it's the dynamic as it presents in the cards is absolute rigidity, holding on to my toys, response by Harry, physical violence. So it's interesting because William attacked him, but you can see the dynamic between these two people. It's just, but the problem starts with just this unbelievable, rigid refusal on the part of William to look at life in any way, shape, or sound different. Yeah. So I like seeing that they're trying to negotiate things so that they would be making a horrible mistake if they shut Megan out because it's already looking bad. But yeah, there are people that are talking about protesting the coronation for that reason. I don't know. Okay, let's see here. Let's move on. Okay, so the next thing that came up, all right, Joanna Carson wants to know about the level of school violence. So one of the things that has come up has to do with the fact that police in the United States are under the greatest threat than anywhere else in the world because everybody in the United States has a gun, basically. So many people in the United States have a gun. Whereas in Britain or Japan, the odds that you're going to stop somebody who has a gun are close to 0. It's highly unlikely. And so the level of fear and tension when approaching a car is dramatically reduced in other countries compared with the United States. So the freewheeling way that we are with guns has created psychological tension in law enforcement that has made it really difficult for normal people to do their job effectively. So the side aspect is that the fact that anybody and everybody can have guns has created a lot of problems for everybody. It's created problems for people that want to teach, that are afraid of working in schools, kids that are afraid of going to school. But also, just in terms of the level of psychological fear and the level of threat for an American police officer versus, say, an officer in Japan or somewhere else where guns are not available. And so there are all kinds of ramifications when you let this amount of weapons out onto the street. What it does to people. If it didn't happen, if we didn't have this amount of weapons on the street, would police be as on edge as they are? That's a separate conversation than racism. Racism is a whole, I'm talking about just the level of stress in the police. So that's an interesting conversation. This almost looks like, when you look at the NRA, it's all about money and large sums of money going to lobbyists in order to advocate for the right to terrorize Americans with guns. That's almost what it looks like, because the first thing you feel when you go into this is the NRA lobby, and you feel the money that's associated with the NRA lobby. And you also get just how it's a stranglehold of control over their constituents, to the point where it's going to be very hard for politicians to move away from these groups. First thing is that they basically fund campaigns. So one of the reasons for their success is that they fund so many campaigns. So the people with the money, they will outbid other people, and that's one of the things that's coming up. And so as a result, the pro-NRA people will often be the ones that push their way politically, state house, etc. So you have this massive amount of money coming in. Page of Pentacles in the 7th house, which would be coin received. People were receiving money. So it does feel like a sense that people are almost being bribed for the opportunity of creating a country that's really gone psychotic with guns. More guns than people. And then the opposition to gun violence is the Queen of Wands. And so that is, again, this passionate, aggressive hold that has, because this is almost like a possessiveness. It's going to be very, very hard to see that stranglehold of the gun lobby on members of political people, Congress, etc. Hopes and fears is the Constitution and the interpretation of the Constitution. It has nothing to do with the Second Amendment. They just made it up. Anyone who reads the Second Amendment says we have a right to form an army, a militia, which we did. We have the U.S. military now, which that's our militia. It was just about forming a military. But so this is a Constitution card for me. When we're looking at government issues, the ethos of the nation, the law of the land being the Constitution, and a Temperance card, which would indicate that they're moving towards moderate changes, but that it doesn't happen overnight. I mean, most people, when Sandy Hook happened, thought sanity would reign, but how many years ago was that? And yet we're still seeing, after Columbine, Sandy Hook, etc. Yeah, I don't know where all this money is coming from. It must be coming from billionaires, because they're saying it's just unbelievable amounts of money. Where's all this money coming from? Look at this. New beginnings in the spring, new money bids, possibly new bids for Congress, new jobs, offering new jobs. I'm assuming that would be funding people's political. Look at the energy fighting to keep guns out there. Look at the money and the power and the passion. Ace of Pentacles, money, money, money. Queen of Wands is a warring queen. She fights. So this is like a very strong, aggressive attempt to hold on to a gun lobby in the United States. I don't think we're going to be able to put a stop to this until we can cut this type of funding. This is really massive. I don't even know where all this money comes from. Hopes and fears, the star, the destiny of the Constitution. The final outcome, Ace of Cups, a compromise will be reached in time, temperance. So yeah, eventually things will get better, but I mean, the cards were possession, Queen of Wands. It was all about passion, possession, and money. Glitz and power and gold, right? The Queen of Wands, she's all about gold. Those are the dark aspects of the Queen of Wands. Everybody's got a good side and a bad side. The bad side of Queen of Wands is that she's possessive and jealous and fiery and warring, that sort of thing. Wild ride, people. Wild ride. Well, it was an interesting remote to put myself in the shoes of an American police officer and to have that experience last night. And I remember feeling like, oh, and sometimes I don't write my remotes down because I'm falling asleep. And I remember thinking, wow, I really want to talk to Americans about how much harder it is to be a police officer in our country instead of Japan. Because I got to feel the fear, particularly when I had to work in areas that were dangerous, and the fact that there were all these random guns everywhere. And then when you put yourself in the shoes of being a police officer in Tokyo, that fear is absent. There aren't any guns. So if you do the experiment, if you use heart-centered remote viewing, if you get yourself into an alpha state and imagine with love in your heart, putting yourself in the shoes of what it's like to be the average police officer, think about the level of tension when you think about the amount of errant guns that are out there. Now put yourself in the shoes of what it is to be a police officer in Tokyo. Like, do the exercise, the empathy exercise. And it's just unbelievable the level of hell we are putting our police through simply because of a crazy lobbying group that is spending huge sums of money to push their candidates through. Yeah, that's basically what it said. I think everybody's tired of it, and everybody knows that the Second Amendment doesn't say anything like that. They just made all this stuff up so that they could sell guns. And they made up the whole thing about capitalism. There's nothing about capitalism in the Constitution. I mean, Christianity used to be pushing a lot of, early Christians. If you read Theodore Dreiser, anybody here read Theodore Dreiser? The Christian socialist, Catholic socialist worker. It was all about helping the poor, and how socialism, Christianity and socialism were aligned because it was all about putting money towards service to the needy. This is before the banks came in and reinterpreted Christianity as capitalism. It's really interesting to read Christian authors prior to the Depression, because then they retell America's story from the perspective of money is good, money is great. But if you read Steinbeck or Theodore Dreiser, any of the early writers from the teens, 20s, 30s, if you read Jungle, Upton Sinclair, we used to have a very different set of beliefs and values as a country. Not all this capitalism. We really are confused from where we used to be, that's for sure. I think it has to do with Reagan. I think after Reagan, it became the whole yuppie generation. Everybody have a BMW, and it became Dynasty and Dallas, and everybody just fell in love with money. But prior to that, I don't think that it was like that so much in the United States. People wanted to get ahead, but Uh, yeah. Yes, Kathy Reagan, it is good news that we have both of those people reinstated. Justin Jones and Justin Peason have been reinstated in Tennessee. That is very good news. All right, let's see about McCarthy. Is McCarthy going to be removed? What do y'all think? So I thought George Santos was going to last 2.5 months. 2.5 months later, he worked out a deal to pay back Brazil, but he's still there. You would think basically admitting to stealing from some old disabled guy, that would be enough to kick him out, but evidently not. So we should take a look at him too. All right, McCarthy's future. McCarthy's future. Huh. He has a lot of money backing him. So there's a ton of money being poured into McCarthy right now. You can see Ace of Pentacles. He, for the time being, seems to be he's able to control, because whoever has the money purse has the control. And when he got in, he controlled the money purse, and that's creating some stability. But he's probably leaving Congress. Believe it or not, they say he might go into the private sector. He's not going to be suffering, but I see him leaving. He's got harvesting his money. This can be also a retirement, but look at that, leaving. He's not staying. At the same time, boy, look how much look how much power he had. Ace of Pentacles. Even though he's got a weak speakership, whoever holds the purse strings has the power. I still see them losing 2-3 members of Congress. And that could be one of those situations where he ends up leaving, because Chariot is interesting. And then a 6 of Swords to be moving in would also indicate that he could be moving on. Huh. So yeah, I think that he'll probably be voted out. He could lose the majority with those types of cards. Horrifying what he's doing in California. Anybody read about some of what he's done? Yep, not good. Bomb threats. My goodness. They do have to release, they do have to take care of the mentally ill. I agree. All right, so people are asking about the future of the GOP. The future of the GOP. No, the future of the GOP is very, very bad. The future of the GOP is terrible because they've attached themselves to dead subjects that are not, and people that are not going to help them win any future elections, and they're not learning. First house is a devil. They're chained to ideas, addictions, and beliefs that are dragging them down. This can also be false beliefs, drug addiction, cults. They're opposition lovers. What do you think that says about the American people that are not GOP and the swing voters? If you've got a lover's card and your opposition is lovers, do you think that we're going to be reaching across the aisle? Do you think that we're going to have a strong, united Democratic Party? Yes. The hope and the fear for the Republicans at this time, they're saying, is that they can keep it together. They can't keep it together. Knight of Swords, chaos. They can't keep it together. Final outcome for them is the Five of Cups, grief. Another one bites the dust. They're doing terribly. And it's by their own demise because they have the addiction, they have the obsession. They simply can't let go of the things that are causing the problem. The nature of the Republican Party at this time is that they are a cult without a cult leader. And the only way that they can go forward is for them to find another cult leader that is as charismatic as Trump. And so, because of the nature of these people, their personalities, they're looking for a church, a leader that they can follow. And so, if the GOP doesn't have a Trump, they will try and create another charismatic person who's out to lunch because they've got a King of Wands. That's a war king, by the way, coming in over grief future. So they could be theoretically picking another person, but I don't see it going well for them at all because the internal belief systems are the underlying problem with this party. Pretty messed up. The devil. A devil can be addiction. It can be a codependent relationship. It's sometimes viewed as a cult, worshiping the devil, worshiping negative things, chained. They're chained to it. They can't let it go. The opposition is the Democrats who stand in the 8th house, and that's associated with lovers, reaching across the aisle, creating allies, creating new alliances. In plainer words, Democrats are maneuvering to create alliances. Yeah. All right. The last question I said I would look at is people want to know if Justice Thomas is leaving. Do you think he's finally going to leave? Or is he another guy caught on the boats having private meetings with billionaires outside in international waters? Could he possibly be one of the people that Robert Mueller was talking about, since he's going off and meeting secretly with this billionaire? Or is that just a weird coincidence that happened to be going? I don't even know what to believe anymore. I used to not believe in conspiracy theories. I used to think they were all bunk. And then I started doing this for a living, and it turned out it's like nothing would surprise me. But there you have it. Clarence Thomas appears to be in a situation where he could have been compromised, having private yacht vacations that are worth millions. Let's take a look. It is a gift, and he was treated. I don't know what to think. I got to skip an ad coming. Skip ads. There you go. Justice Clarence Thomas. He took a bribe. The police are, he is being investigated. He's in trouble. He's about to be out. He's in trouble. He's in trouble. Let's see, he took the money. Page of Pentacles, money, work to be done. He had work to be done. He took money or money to do work. Page of Pentacles can be a job. The other he's having an issue with. Knight of Swords, angry, violent energy, can be a police raid. I got the impression when I did a remote on him recently, I felt like I was being blackmailed or bribed or threatened, and I documented it. And so to have his opposition be like a Knight of Swords, angry and aggressive, really makes me uncomfortable. Hopes and fears, Four of Pentacles. So he's hiding his money. He's holding back on his money. So in answer to the person who had asked about Thomas possibly getting in trouble with the IRS for undisclosed trips, there's something like that could theoretically happen. First off, you don't want the Knight of Swords after you. And secondly, this is pulling back on your money, frugality. And then the final outcome, King of Swords. That could be not good because that can also be police. They say he's worried about his health. He's had some health concerns. This almost looks like he may have a history of diabetes or something like that. Moon energy coming in. Refuses to talk or discuss questions by the authorities. So he may have been questioned by the authorities and refused to have cooperated. Two of Swords over possible police, or if there was a question by the DOJ or any kind of ethics question, he refused to answer. And in terms of the most likely outcome for him, he appears to be safe from prosecution. I don't see a prosecution, but it is possible that he could be leaving because of health concerns. The strength card becomes the issue. So he's 78 years old now, something like that. So it wouldn't be unusual for him to be thinking at 78 that he'd like to retire soon. I believe that's his age. Been on the bench since he was 30 something? Long time. All right, so I think we have another one here. I'll keep going, why not? Lizandra Vejo. Hi, love your show. Is George Santos leaving from New York? I thought he would have maybe 2.5 months because his cards were horrible. And also, when you followed the energy, it looked like things were going to escalate with Brazil. But 2.5 months later, he did work out a deal. He wasn't extradited. He has to pay the guy back. But let's take a look at the future of George Santos. Really a nut job. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. But hard not to say that. Right, Mila? It's hard not to say that. Yeah, Melissa, have you read Theodore Dreiser? Our cousin, what was it? Cousin what? Cousin Carrie? Is that right? But yeah, his father was a minister, Theodore Dreiser. He was raised in the church, and it's just a very different church than the churches today. You know, just the ethics were all about helping the poor and the needy and collecting blankets. And it's right after the 1919 crash. And the unions are starting to build up, and people in the unions are starting to go to the churches and speak at the churches, and people are going to the churches to get organized. And it's just amazing to read Theodore Dreiser because you realize we've fallen so far from that, you know. But in answer to your question about him, at this time, he presents as the George Santos presents as the King of Pentacles. So he would be the money man, making money. Others in relationship with him, Four of Swords. The guy that he defrauded could be passing away soon or may have passed away. Hopes and fears, Ten of Wands, that he will have to leave, pack up and leave. Ten of Wands, carry the heavy load. Three of Wands, which is to head back east. It's also a wish card. Four of Pentacles, he's being audited. It's very likely he could be audited because of money issues. Four of Pentacles. So what could be taking him out is some kind of, there's justice regarding issues of money. Six of Pentacles. The hopes and the fear at this time for him is strength over Ten of Wands, which is to carry the heavy load. The strength to carry the heavy load. And then the final outcome for him, Eight of Swords. More legal troubles lay ahead and more red tape. I still don't see him finishing up in Congress. He has to leave. He's pulled out again. It's inevitable because he's just got mounting problems. Not only that, but it appears that he is also going to come up that he owes a lot of people money and a lot of promises he made for things he didn't do. And all of those people are now communicating with one another. And he could have multiple lawsuits, including civil suits, laying ahead. His final outcome is Five of Wands, conflict over him, and an Eight of Swords, which is to be wrapped in tape. So not a good ending for him. You know, he's basically like Donald Trump. He's a bit of a grifter, and now a lot of his grifts and thefts are coming out. And so all these people he hurt are coming forward. They're speaking to the authorities from what it looks like. And now Five of Wands, he's got this angry, intense energy over him from all these people he's messed over. So it would surprise me that he could survive in Congress with those types of cards. Yeah. All right, everybody. I think we've done an hour. Thank you for your loving. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being members. Those of you who have supported the channel through membership, donations, etc. If you're trying to get in for a reading with me, that would be cool. I would like that. You can check out the information below this video. I do offer phone readings, both here in the United States, but also internationally. I usually call people through WhatsApp. Yes, if you have WhatsApp, I can call you. If you want to get a quick 5-minute reading, check out Wizio. That information is below. I have a bunch of Wizios I'm supposed to do tonight. I promise you guys, if you haven't gotten it yet in the last couple days, you're going to get your Wizios tonight. All right, be well, everyone. Thank you again for your love and support of the channel. We will see you next time, amigos. And that's all I got for you. Strange times. Yes. Thank you.